If you're an iPhone owner, you might believe that you're completely safe from scams, but the reality is different. Hackers and scammers have been targeting iPhone users for years, mainly because there are so many of us. Recent reports suggest there are about 1.3 billion active iPhone users worldwide. And when you consider the wealth of personal information on our phones, it's easy to see why hackers and scammers are so attracted to them. Scams are constantly changing and evolving. In this video, I'll talk about some of the more recent and most common scams targeting iPhone owners and explain how they work so you can avoid them. And stick with me to the end of the video because I'm going to share some general tips to help keep you, your phone, and your data as safe as possible. Okay, let's get into it. Earlier this week, researchers at Symantec warned iPhone owners about a new phishing threat and provided steps to stay safe. This threat, known as smishing, involves phishing via SMS rather than email, hence the name Smishing. Here's how it works. You receive an SMS on your iPhone that appears to be from Apple, urging you to address something important related to your iCloud. Trusting Apple, you click the link, which takes you to a fake iCloud website that looks legit, complete with a captcha code. The site asks for your Apple ID information, which you enter as you normally would if you were logging into iCloud on the web. The problem is that none of it is real. The text isn't from Apple, the link leads to a fake site, and the information that you provide is then captured by hackers. Given the personal data stored in iCloud, including login details and banking app passwords, hackers can easily exploit this information. So why is Symantec talking about this now, when phishing is nothing new? The key issue is the delivery method. While email phishing is well known and email clients have strong spam filters in place, SMS messages don't have the same level of protection. Since companies increasingly use SMS for legitimate communications, people are more likely to fall for this scam. So how can you avoid falling victim? Be cautious of any messages claiming to be from Apple. Companies using SMS for mass messaging must now verify themselves. For example, I got a text from Apple the other day in relation to a purchase I'd made. An SMS from Apple about a recent purchase should show Apple notifications with a verification tick, like you can see here. Always verify the sender and the context of the message. If you receive an unexpected message, don't follow the link. I was expecting a text from Apple because I'd just bought something, but had I not, this would have made me suspicious. If this happens to you, log into your Apple Store account directly to check any information. Remember, Apple will never ask for your personal information like your Apple account password or one-time codes via phone or SMS. If Apple needs you to do something with your account, they will direct you to log in on their official website. Always access your account through the official channels. Earlier this year, a threat targeting iPhone owners made the news. It has since died down, partly because Apple has taken steps to limit the problem. This threat is known as MFA Bombing. Here's what happens. Instead of receiving SMS messages or emails, you get bombarded with system-level messages, specifically MFA, multi-factor authentication. An MFA message is a pop-up asking if you want to proceed with changing the password associated with your Apple ID. You can either allow it or deny it access. While the message is on your screen, you can't use your phone, and because of the way that iCloud works, the notification would appear on all of your connected devices too. The scam works by bombarding you with these messages, sometimes sending hundreds in a short time. This is also called MFA fatigue because the constant need to press deny can make you susceptible to a follow-up attack. When this was reported back in March, Twitter user Parth Patel shared his experience of being targeted by a hacking group. The hackers bombarded Parth's Apple account with around 100 password reset requests, each prompting him to either allow or deny the reset. These were Apple system-level alerts. Although Parth suspected something unusual, he wasn't too concerned initially. He thought it might be a mistake or someone trying to access his account, but thanks to the two-factor authentication, they couldn't get in. The system-level prompts stopped, but about 15 minutes later, he received a call from a number matching Apple's customer support number. The caller claimed to be from Apple, wanting to help secure his account. Parth was suspicious and asked for validation. The caller provided a lot of correct information, including his email, phone number, address, and date of birth. But the caller then used a name that wasn't actually his, but was instead a name that had been incorrectly associated with him on some online databases. He knew this and realized it was a scam. He ended the call and reported the incident. Importantly, he didn't give out any information, and so he didn't fall victim. So, how does this scam work? First, it's not a random attack. Scammers do some preparation, unlike SMS or email phishing, which is all about volume. Path is a company founder with a lot of information online. Scammers target individuals by gathering as much information as possible to answer potential verification questions. They look for details like your date of birth, email address, phone number, current and previous addresses, and workplaces. This information is often publicly available through LinkedIn, people directories, or social media. Once they had enough information, they exploited a weakness in Apple's system, allowing multiple password reset requests in a short period. If you request a password reset, an MFA request is sent to all Apple devices linked to your iCloud account. You would press Allow and follow the steps to change your password. Capture codes are supposed to prevent bots from sending multiple requests, but scammers can bypass them and send hundreds of requests quickly. The goal is not to make you press Allow, but rather to exhaust you with constantly pressing Deny. After this, they call you from a spoofed number, pretending to be from Apple and offer you help, which you are, of course, now grateful for. During the call, they use gathered information to convince you that they're genuine. They might ask you to approve the next prompt, triggering a one-time password, OTP, sent to your device. The scammers then use this OTP to reset your Apple account. So to avoid this scam, remember it is targeted and not random. Your phone number is often the main connector. Some people change their number temporarily to avoid being targeted, though this is pretty inconvenient. Also, be aware of how much information about you is publicly available. Google your name in quotes with terms like phone number, home address, or email address to see what matches, and then contact the site showing your details and ask them to take it down. Also, maintain a healthy dose of skepticism when receiving calls, texts, or emails from any company. Apple doesn't make outbound calls unless you've contacted them first, asking them to do so. If you doubt a call, tell the caller that you're going to hang up and call Apple support yourself. A real support worker will be fine with this, while a scammer will need to keep you on the line. And most importantly, never share your OTP, your one-time passcode, with anyone. Apple states this in their messages. It is yours and yours alone, and being asked to share it is a very clear sign of a scam. Of course, one of the most important ways that you can stay safe online is to educate yourself, which brings me nicely to the sponsor of today's video, Brilliant. Brilliant simplifies complex topics like maths, data analysis, programming, and AI, helping you learn by doing. So I've recently been learning about artificial intelligence and large language models, for example, and the platform had me chatting with a large language model because learning by playing with concepts like this is believed to be 6 times more effective than learning simply by watching a video. And the great thing is Brilliant has thousands of lessons just like this across a wide range of topics. It helps build critical thinking skills through problem solving rather than mere memorization, allowing you to gain deeper knowledge and become a better thinker overall. And because of how convenient Brilliant is, you can learn at a pace and schedule that suits you. I've created my own daily learning habits with a spare 5 or 10 minutes every day, time that I probably would have spent doom scrolling anyway, so this feels like a much better use of my time. If this sounds good to you, you can enjoy everything that Brilliant has to offer for free for 30 days by visiting brilliant.org/properhonesttech or following the link in the description of this video, which also gets you a lifetime 20% off the premium account. So there's really no better time to join the more than 10 million existing members and take your knowledge to the next level. I talked about this particular threat on my channel when I made a video about it last year. The good news is that Apple have taken steps to rectify this problem, but with a pretty major caveat. That's why we're discussing it again in this video. This threat is known as the passcode threat, where thieves aim to get your phone and the 4 or 6-digit passcode that you use to access it to change your Apple ID. They do this for 2 main reasons. First, it gives them access to your phone, making it easier to wipe the device and resell it. But there is a more ominous reason for wanting your passcode. Obtaining your passcode allows them to remove any biometrics like Face ID or Touch ID and replace them with their own. This gives them pretty much unlimited access to many apps on your device, including banking apps, allowing them to transfer money from your accounts or go on a spending spree using Apple Pay and your cards. They can also use the passcode to change the password and email associated with your Apple ID. This would have disastrous consequences, essentially locking you out of your phone and all of your connected devices like your MacBook, iPad, Apple Watch, and Apple TV. The best case is regaining access later with minimal damage, but the worst case is hackers could delete or hold your content for ransom. If you're like me and have thousands of photos and videos, memories in here, you know how valuable these are. This is a multi-stage attack involving multiple people, though you'll likely only notice one. Scammers target crowded areas like bars, especially on busy nights. They'll engage you in conversation and try to see you enter your passcode. They might do this subtly or directly, as shown in a Wall Street Journal video where a former scammer, now in prison, explained his tactics. He targeted drunk people, offering them drugs and then using the opportunity to enter his phone number into their phone to set him up as their dealer. Once handed the phone, he would lock it accidentally and ask for the passcode to get back in. The user would usually trust them enough to give it. The goal is to quickly get that 6-digit passcode and the phone, often by pickpocketing or robbing them later. The group targets drunk people because they are less likely to call the police immediately, giving scammers time to change the passcode, email, password, Face ID and Touch ID, making the phone essentially theirs. They then look for banking apps to transfer money or spend using Apple Pay. Once they've exhausted all of their options, they erase and resell the phone. And look, I know what you're thinking, you don't take drugs, so you would never fall victim to this because you would never speak to somebody like this at a bar. But keep in mind, that's just one of the methods that they use. They could also approach groups of friends and offer to take a photo of them with one of the phones, then use the exact same tactic that we just talked about. So don't get complacent here. Apple has taken steps to combat this, but there is a major caveat. This issue made headlines last year, prompting Apple to respond. Scammers exploited a vulnerability where they could change too much user information using just the passcode. Apple created a setting called Stolen Device Protection. When enabled, additional security requirements are needed when your iPhone is away from familiar locations like your home or at work. The idea is that by doing this, they're more likely to target phone thieves rather than the people innocently making changes at home. The feature requires Face or Touch ID for major account changes, eliminating the passcode problem. It also adds a security delay, requiring an hour wait and a second biometric authentication to change your Apple ID password. So, good news, right? Well, not quite. Stolen device protection isn't enabled by default. You have to go and set it up. Check your iPhone right now by going to Settings, then Face ID and Passcode, or Touch ID and Passcode to see if it's on. If not, enable it for extra security. Also, I think this is set up on a per phone basis. So I had this enabled on my phone, but I recently replaced it and noticed that when I checked it, it wasn't switched on the new phone. Other lessons we can learn from this scam include using a more complex passcode than the typical 4 or 6-digit numeric code. Avoid obvious ones like all zeros or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 because these are the first ones that a scammer will try. A longer passcode with letters and numbers is harder to remember and harder for scammers to see. Also, never tell someone your passcode, especially a stranger. Your passcode ensures that only you can access your phone. You wouldn't give a stranger the key to your house, don't give them the key to your phone. In terms of phone theft, maintain caution when using your phone in public. We spend as much on our phones as we do on our laptops these days, but we treat them with much less respect. Don't leave your phone unattended or use it in ways that makes it really easy to steal. Lastly, don't store your sensitive information in the Notes app or the Photos app. Use the password section of the Settings app in iOS 17 or the dedicated password app in iOS 18. This app is locked to biometrics, providing more protection than the Notes app, which is essentially plain text anyone with your phone can access. By the way, if you prefer to have content like this in a written format, there's a PDF version of this video complete with screenshots, and you can access it along with all other PDFs I've created, plus future ones, for just $5 a month, or by itself as a one-time payment. You can either scan the QR code that you can see on screen, or follow the link in the description of this video to learn more. So those are the main threats that iPhone owners are facing at the moment. To wrap up the video, I want to quickly discuss 10 general tips for staying safe when using your iPhone. Number 1, enable automatic updates. Always allow automatic updates on your phone. Go to Settings, General, then Software Update, and make sure that automatic updates are enabled. If you don't want the full iOS to update automatically, at least allow security responses and system files to update. Apple often releases security patches quickly to fix issues, so it is crucial that you install these updates to stay safe. Number 2, be mindful of personal information. Be aware of what personal information you're sharing online and what's already available. Google your name in quotes, followed by terms like phone number, email address, or home address to see what information is out there. If you can find it, other people can too. Take steps to remove this information if possible, and be very cautious about what you share on social media, especially if your account is public. Number 3, silence unknown callers. Don't answer calls from numbers that you don't recognize. Use the silence unknown callers setting. Go to settings, then phone, then silence unknown callers, and toggle it on. This sends unknown numbers straight to voicemail. Be aware that you might miss important calls from unknown numbers, so you might need to manage this setting carefully. Alternatively, you can screen calls by letting them ring out and then Googling the number to see if it's a scam. This is a method that I use all the time. Number 4, be cautious with links. Exercise extreme caution when asked to follow a link in a text message or email. Even if the source seems legitimate, like an email from your energy provider, it is safer to go directly to the website and log in from there instead of following the link. Number 5, verify everything. If you receive a call from someone claiming to be a company and you're not expecting the call, let them know that you're going to hang up and call their official customer hotline. A legitimate representative won't mind, but a scammer will need to keep you on the phone. Number 6, beware of social engineering. Be aware of scammers manipulating you to give up personal information. For example, scammers might send texts pretending to be your children in trouble. This is a big one going around on WhatsApp at the moment. Verify the situation by calling the number that your kids usually contact you from. Again, verify, verify, verify. Number 7, don't store sensitive information unsecured. Never store sensitive information like your credit card numbers or PINs, passport photos, or social security numbers in your Photos or your Notes app. Use secured locations like the password section of the Settings app or a dedicated password manager with biometric locking. Number 8, block spam email senders. Block senders of spam emails as they come through to your inbox. Tap on the sender at the top of the screen and choose to block the contact. It might sound pointless, but this can reduce the amount of spam that you receive, as spammers often use the same email addresses multiple times, and they'll often stop targeting you when they see that you never open an email. Number 9, don't send money to strangers. Never send money to someone that you don't know, and if you're paying for a service or a product, only pay invoices. Scammers often ask for money via methods that are hard to recover, like PayPal Friends and Family or Western Union. Number 10, enable two-factor authentication. Ensure that two-factor authentication is enabled on your iCloud account. Go to Settings, tap your name, choose Sign In and Security, and enable two-factor authentication. This adds an extra layer of security for any significant changes to your Apple ID. The last point that I want to make is that you shouldn't be afraid to use your iPhone. Comments on videos like this often say things like, well, this is why I only use my iPhone as a phone, or this is why I never submit any personal information online ever. That isn't the point that I'm trying to make. What I'm saying is that you need to exercise caution when using your device. The number one piece of advice that I can give you is to verify everything. Don't assume that everyone asking for information online is trustworthy. If you're unsure about something, stop, take a beat, and verify the information yourself before you take any action. A legitimate person won't mind you taking the time to verify, but a scammer will try to prey on your trust and push you to act quickly. What about you? Have you got any scam stories that you want to warn people about? Drop me a comment and let me know. And as ever, if you found this video useful, do please consider leaving me a like and subscribing to my channel for more content like this in the future. See you on the next video.